Welcome to another edition of Your Impact Attack. That's right, Your Impact Attack. It's yours, or I think it's yours. I was told it was yours. We found it on the floor, and no one's claiming it, so we're giving it to you. And who are we? And who are you? And what are we giving you? So I am the V in the VBC, the vet Jamie Williams. With me, as always, tag team partner Brandon, as I tag Brandon through the internet, the power of the internet. And the tag, he's coming in to clean house. Brandon, what's going on? That's the beat.
Not much, man. It's another Monday night. We just got done watching a little bit of Raw. Saw one of the, what I thought was one of the best matches I've seen on TV in a while.
Oh, what would that have been?
Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. Like they had
two great wrestlers. No surprise. Oh. We may be a little bit frozen. We may be a little bit frozen. Let it go.
We're here.
Let it go. Okay, we're here.
We had to go back to what I was saying about the Sami Zayn Chad Gable match. Was they actually built story and character throughout the match where Gable tried to get every member of his team to try to cheat for him, but they wouldn't do it. And then it got to Otis, and it was his turn. Or I'm sorry. And then at some point during, and then when both Maxine and Tozawa wouldn't cheat for him, he sent him to the back. And then when Otis wouldn't do it, he slapped Otis. And then for the finish, as Zayn is setting up for the haluva kick, Otis gets on the apron, hits him with a clothesline, and then Gable comes in, hits the Chaos Theory 1, 2, 3.
Well, there you go. Sounds very exciting.
Like,
this is how up to the moment live we are here on the Impact Attack.
Like, man, dude, like, that's how you build character. That's how you further stories in wrestling matches, not a bunch of ridiculous flippy shit.
Oh. Well, I was listening to the internet, and they said that Triple H only likes having long matches.
I mean, granted, it was a long match, but they actually did stuff in the match that made you like, okay, I kind of want to follow the story and see what happens next. And it had nothing to do with the moves that were happening in the ring.
Oh, are you saying the internet was only selectively saying things and trying to further their own narratives?
Nah, that would never happen.
Oh. Okay, good. Well, we also have, speaking of the internet, the magic of the internet has given us a power to add a C to the show. Well, actually, we got rid of a C on the show, and this C was replaced with this C, which is the chat. And so we have some people here. And who do we have with us here, Brandon?
See, we got Elizabeth with us. We got Lab Rat. We got Canada Spaceman. We know more people are going to start pouring in. We just started. We kicking it off. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Well, that's a hell of a trio to start with. And I don't know. We usually start with talking about a little bit of chit chat, whatever's been going on in the industry or whatnot. A lot of chatter, pal, for our to get our weekly My World reference in there. So I don't know what you've heard. I've had a tiny piece of TNA related news. It's tiny. It's so tiny. It's like it's stuck in my teeth here. I just gotta pick it out and share with you guys. But do you have anything bigger that we could start with? Anything more appetizing? Anything you've been seeing?
Man, the only real big news in wrestling that I've heard is the whole thing with WWE siding with McMahon and Laurinaitis on arbitration. I think they have a case.
Just in the sense of arbitration, like they're siding with them? Because I'm sure that as a company, they would want to keep as much out of the public as possible.
Right. I think not that I think they have a case, but rather than I think they can. Actually, no, I fucked that all up. Wow. No, they don't have a case. I don't think they do have a case. I think, yeah, now that you put it that way, now that you reminded me of that, I think they're just kind of like, okay, what can we do to like, how much do you want for us to pay you under the table to keep this quiet?
Damn, if only we were paying people under the table, we wouldn't be in this mess. God.
Right, exactly. You got a dude who's a billionaire. $3 million is fucking pocket change.
Well, as usual, Liz comes in with some clarification. She says the actual NDA states that arbitration is the first step. I think that's what they're saying. We need to follow the NDA.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. You know, yada yada yada. Same old stuff. Yeah, I was looking at some of the so-called news items, and as usual, it's just people taking clips of podcasts and making them into internet articles. So it's pretty lame. Especially if you already listen to the podcasts, then you're like, oh, that's what. Okay, guess there's not much going on. Sometimes people say no news is good news after all. All right, so we'll get to my tiny piece of floss-worthy news. It's just that backstage at some TNA tapings, people have seen former AEW talent Jose the Assistant. All right, he's been backstage. He's had a meeting. We're gonna see if he can. He's had a meeting with Tommy Dreamer to see if he can do something. I don't know if he'll be able to keep his old name of Jose the Assistant. They may change it up. I paused for crickets, but yeah. So all the Jose the Assistant fans maybe look forward to seeing him in the future. In what I consider to be bigger TNA news, they also have released on social media the inbox sort of prototypes of the Powertown Wrestling action figures TNA series. So those are looking good in the box, and which of course we've also promised that we will have a live unboxing on this show if and when we ever get those figures, if they don't get canceled again. But they look like they're pretty far along. They look nice. They actually look like the best action figures that I've ever seen, perhaps wrestling or otherwise. They had the potential, so
that's pretty high praise.
Yeah, let's look forward to that together. Chris Wendland in the house waving, yes boy. Does No Way Jose need a Jose the Assistant?
I would rehire No Way Jose just to put him with Jose the Assistant and make that an act. I feel like I could get something off of that. Granted, it would piss a lot of people off and offend a lot of people, but if you do it the right way, it could be funny as fuck.
Is that hundreds of thousands of dollars a year worthy? I don't know. We'll see. But there you go. That is God. Well, maybe you guys have some news. We'll throw it to you for a moment. If you guys have any news or concerns, questions, anything, start thinking about them now. Maybe if we get enough, we can even address some at the end. But if you think there's anything topical we need to cover right now, this is how live we are. We're actually pitching, and the reason we're doing that is because we have one episode of TNA Impact to talk about it, and literally half of it was a match, and literally nobody cares. So we're not going to have a lot of time to spend even with the punching it up. I can already tell that this may be a condensed version of the match we got on the show coming up on the Punching Up Impact. But I will say that even though it was epically long, I think, at least in this case, the idea was to have an epic match. Like the whole idea was that you basically had half the roster in this match, if not the whole roster. And so you couldn't just have like a 10-minute match because the entrances alone probably took over 10 minutes. So you wanted to at least give the people the sense that they were getting something. And regardless of whether it was like one gigantic tag match or not, like the people in attendance were all like, well, we're all, if we have a favorite wrestler in this damn company, pretty sure they're in this match and we're getting to watch them for quite a while here. So we're getting our money's worth for the ticket that we bought. It doesn't come across the same on TV to us, I don't think, Brandon. I mean, what do you think about that?
100%. I think that like this match is more of a non-televised live event match you do to pop a house, not a rating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, you know, it's one way or the other. The idea is to get people on TV, and they definitely did that. And in this case, they got them on TV and kept them on TV. So, so as Chris Winland asks, any update on Athena being injured? So I saw a report that Athena was injured at the most recent taping. I guess she had a match with some chick, and then she did like a dive out the ring on the chick and maybe came up lame afterwards and was limping. I kind of watched that match, but I was multitasking, so if there was any, I didn't watch it closely. She looked fine when I was watching it, but maybe I missed that part. So I don't know, but it sounds like it was just the injury was just something unfortunate. They can't afford a serious injury to Athena because she's right in the middle of a historic women's Ring of Honor title run. So they've not found yet the person to take that belt off of her. But clearly they need to move her into more, how do we say, prominent programming. We've seen lately on, say, Collision or Rampage, which they've been packaging as like 1 3-hour block, is like we've seen people that have been on Ring of Honor showing up on those shows, and it's been a surprise to, say, my co-host Jimmy T, because he's like, where have these people been? And I'll be like, well, they've been on Ring of Honor, you know. And he doesn't follow it, so it just seems like they're coming out of nowhere to him. But some of these people, like for one example would be Johnny TV or John Morrison or whatever. Johnny and Taya have been on Ring of Honor.
And how do you put those two on Ring of Honor and not your main show?
I don't know. I think, well, if you look at it in terms of a booker, if Tony is trying to keep people from walking out of the tapings, maybe you hold some stars back or people that they might know, you know, to give people an incentive to not leave along taping. And you get a chance for him to do what he's there to do, which they didn't hire Johnny TV to be a star. What they hired him to do was to be a player coach and work with up and coming talent. That's the idea of Ring of Honor. It looks like he's got his own feeder system as Ring of Honor. It'd be like the NXT. So I guess that's kind of what they're doing with that. I don't know how much of a goal he has as far as that's concerned, but that's just what I'm taking it as at the surface level. So, you know, but all Athena can do as Ring of Honor Women's Champion is get hurt. That's the only thing that she has to do. There's nothing left for her to do. She's done it all. She's beat everybody, sometimes twice. She's been involved in long-term story with, you know, Billy Starks and even the announcer Lexi Nair making them her minions and forcing them to do things and slowly brainwashing them. And over the course of like a year and a half, you've seen these people be reluctant sidekicks to sort of like fully supporting and backing. And it's actually probably one of the better things that wrestling has right now. And nobody's watching it, of course. So it's very unfortunate, but that's how shit goes sometimes. And but yeah, so anyway, that's a long-winded answer to say that I don't know what's up with her injury, but hopefully it's minor. She probably just banged her hip up or something. So let's hope, and let's hope that she's ready to just sort of bring that Ring of Honor championship off of Ring of Honor onto Rampage and Collision. She did do like a Battle of the Belts recently, so that'd be the first time in quite a while. Let's see her move up the ladder. She's one of the best things going today.
Yeah, hopefully this is nobody wants to see anybody get injured for a long period of time and can't work and have their, whatever run they're on get derailed.
Yeah.
No, unless you're a douchebag who wants to see that person, fail, but you gotta be a douchebag for that.
Yes, it's gotta be a douchebag. The man with 3H's asks, do you agree that Scott D'Amore's removal was the biggest mistake in recent Impact history? I don't know. How recent? As recent as it happening? There's been a lot of mistakes in Impact history, buddy. So I don't even know what kind of a question that is. But no, it doesn't seem to matter. And I also don't know how much you can remove him. Like, he's just going to call Tommy Dreamer and tell him something anyway. So how removed is he? You want to talk about Vince McMahon still being around and behind the scenes? That motherfucker can barely walk. He's got bigger problems. But Scott D'Amore seems healthy and fine. And, I don't see that he's even really gone. So I don't know if he's removed anything but name only. But even if he is, still not a mistake. The show's more or less the same. So I really don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Brandon? What's your take on that?
I mean, as far as the product of the show goes, since Scott D'Amore's been gone, have there been, a few minute differences? Yeah, sure. But as a whole, the show's pretty much still the same it's been since they relaunched this TNA.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, you see little things here and there, but it's only like sort of surface level changes or minor things. So, the former C's here. Hello, Colin.
The old C and the new C.
That's right. That's C sucker Colin. He says, sucks Impact isn't getting the same views AEW does, and it's a wholly better product. Well, let's explain that. When you funnel money into something, it's going to get more attention. That's it. It's as simple as that. I was discussing this with, was it on my, all my stuff runs together, whether I'm streaming on Twitch or whether I'm doing these shows. We'll get to that. We'll get to that response in a second, but I was explaining how, regardless of what anybody thinks, you guys can, again, narratives. You can have all your narratives that you want. You could say, oh, Tony Khan doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to book. He needs to listen to people. Well, you could say whatever you say. You could say AEW. You could trash them to the moon. The reason why they're at where they're at, whether it's number 2 or a distant number 2, however you want to look at it, is the money. It's the money. WWE is the established brand that will never be taken over. Just like Coca-Cola will never be taken over by Pepsi. Just like Walmart will never be taken over by Target. Just like any number one that has a distant lead is entrenched with their brand identity. People still call the WWE, they still call wrestling WWE. Some people, Brandon, I'm sure you probably heard this. How many times have you heard over the years somebody in like 2024 or even 2023 that doesn't watch wrestling still say WWF? Some of them still call it WWF. Like, they don't, it's been the WWE for 20 years, 22 years. It's been the WWE since they changed it. And people still say that WWF. Like, that's how brand identified WWE is with. It doesn't matter what AEW does. AEW could be cooking on a weekly basis, but they're just never going to surpass the WWE. But one of the reasons they instantly just jumped to number 2 is because you have an expensive looking show and Tony's putting his money into it, right? Whether he's turning a profit on it or whether you think that matters, regardless, if TNA were putting in that amount of money, that amount of effort, getting on that channel in those time slots or whatever, if they were doing anything to get visibility, then they would be more visible than they are. Yes, but people don't know what a good wrestling product is. They know what they know. They know what's famous, and they'll mark out for what's famous. So that's the reason. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I want to apologize. I was kind of laughing because I was responding to Colin in the chat where he said, and I put, or he got, or something about Colin trapped in the closet. So Colin says, and I pulled out my gun, and then I replied, I'm gonna shoot this bitch if Tom Cruise will come out the closet. And I immediately got a strike on it saying, you Jew protected your comment. And I've been laughing about that.
The live censorship, pal. So yeah. So now the man with three H's says, yeah, I see your point, but he was looking to increase the budget and production. Unfortunately, TNA is run by a cost-cutting focused parent company. Well, allegedly on all that. Allegedly. But that ties into what I'm saying, because it's like him spending more money and being on Access TV is not going to change a damn thing, because nobody's watching in the first place. They wouldn't even know that they increased the production.
Yep. And for the soda discussion in the chat, I think it's more of a thing of Mexico requiring, hey, you got to use real sugar, not that processed shit.
Yeah, we all know Mexico is the bastion of regulations. So good on them.
Dude, yes. I tried Mexican Pepsi one time. Dude. Like while in Mexico, it was something else.
Pep? See? Sonic the Hedgehog says, at this point, WWE is an American export.
Very true, dude. You just nailed it right there.
Yep. Sonic coming in. Mic drop. Colin also says, isn't being a successful business the point of owning a wrestling promotion event? Depends on the owner. To Tony Khan, the point of owning a wrestling promotion is owning a wrestling promotion. So you can say you owned a wrestling promotion. Sure, he wants it to be successful, but that's not the point of it.
Yeah, absolutely, Elizabeth. That is the best Pepsi.
So, all right. So you guys have clearly taken my soda analogy way off track, and we're not even talking about what we're talking about anymore. So I guess what I'm hearing is that it's time to either turn this into a soda podcast, or we could just get this episode of Impact out of the way.
Gam Wolfer's in the house. Hey, pal.
Woo. You gotta love Gam Wolfers.
Yeah, sorry.
Artist and retro game enthusiast.
Dude, like Impact didn't give us a lot to work with. We're trying to make something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. That's another interesting point, though, before we move on. Chris Winland points out that MLW won that lawsuit, right? What was that, 20 million allegedly?
Yeah, what have they done with that?
What will they do with that? Furthermore, can anybody tell me where you can find MLW?
BNTV, I think.
That was years ago. I don't even think they have that deal anymore. Exactly. And nobody knows what that is. And they're on YouTube. Right? But that's the thing. Like, and nothing MLW will ever do will approach even what AEW's already done. It just never will. Like, no matter what. It's just not going to. We'll never be talking about MLW as a quote unquote, to use Tony's words, challenger brand. We will never talk about that. It's just not going to happen. They won't do anything to make the public perception shift to where people are actually talking about, a ratings war between MLW and anyone. So, yeah. But anyway, speaking of nobody watching, we have this TNA Impact from May 16th at this point. We're starting with Ketchup, and there's even a little bit of new footage in there. You go, ooh, got Ketchup hat. That right there, he held up. That was TNA.
I actually think it says White Castle on there.
Oh, dang! What kind of savage would put ketchup on a? Well, they do have fries, right? So
that's the only thing I use it for is fries.
Yeah, you wouldn't put a ketchup on a slider. Ugh.
No.
Why would
No.
you? How dare you? Get out of here. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the White Castle.
But Dad, what if they say they like ketchup on their sliders? We ask them politely but firmly to leave.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Speaking of asking him politely and firmly to leave, the concierge is in the ring. And he's going to intro Ash by Elegance, of course. And she comes out for a match with Zaya Brookside. Is this the... I lost track. Is this the trilogy match? Is this the quadrilogy match? Like, what are we into here?
Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't put the brass knucks on a pole.
They're not brass. These are jewels. These are bejeweled. In fact, they're so bejeweled, and the ref held up the jeweled knuckles like it was a title belt. Like when they started the match, she had the little. This is what it's for, guys. Which was, I mean, that's one reason why we're never gonna see this promotion seriously. Take it seriously or a serious consideration. The concierge has a ref shirt under his jacket for some reason. Like, I guess he was teasing that he would referee the match, and then the referee was just like, just get out. Just get out of here. Isn't that basically what happened?
Pretty
it's not
much.
Like he was official or anything, right?
Nah, nothing really special about it. It was... Did he? No, he didn't even play into the finish. Did he?
I had to rewind it because it was very brief, but I'll get to that. But yes, he I guess it was just the idea that he was really trying and he really wanted to be a part of to referee the match, and they said no. So him just wearing a referee shirt, usually in wrestling that just means that the call is final if you just wear the shirt, but I guess they take things a little more seriously here. All joking aside, I don't really have a problem with that. Like, this is very like carny wrestling fun, stuff, like for people that think of wrestling in a certain light.
Right, like that. Yeah, like that whole thing kind of felt like they were making fun of that whole trope of, hey, if you come to the ring wearing a referee shirt, you're automatically a ref. And they were kind of like, nah, that's not how it works.
Right. And, short of putting the jewels on a pole, like we're still like making fun of it like it's a championship you win. So like, again, I don't really have a problem with the concierge is doing what he's supposed to do. Like, I get the character, I get the guy, I get the heat, it's fine. They're playing into their small time, or they don't get how to ever look bigger than small time, I guess is what I'm saying. You could joke around in wrestling, or you can make wrestling a joke. It's up to you. As for the Heinz or Hunts conversation,
that's a great quote. You can joke around in wrestling, or you can make wrestling a joke. That's a great quote.
Okay, Vet 2024, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, May 20th. You guys can write that one down if you like it. That's a me original. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Heinz or Hunt. So I would have to, obviously the answer is Heinz, but in remembering our great Media M5 Mike, we actually once had an epic argument where we shouted him down because he professed his love for Hunt's ketchup, and Liz and Jerome and many other people were there, and we were all we had that inside joke for weeks and weeks. So very very funny, good memory. Hunt's ketchup. He was the only person I ever knew who liked it and didn't just accept it. And he was Italian too, which is even more concerning. But
MV Huntsman.
yeah, so anyway, back to this match for whatever reason. You were saying that that you didn't know if he interfered. So actually what happened was really quickly, Zaya was going up to the top rope for something, and he grabbed her leg, and Ash was like with the ref, I think, and then like maybe she grabbed the ref, and then he grabbed her leg, and she kind of like looked down at him and kicked him off, and then Ash got up, cut her off, hit a move on her, did the rarefied air, won the match. Then afterwards, they all are in the ring, and Concierge demands that Zaya give the rings herself to Ash. Like, not gonna just let the referee hand her the rings. It should be Zaya who gives her the rings. So, of course, the baby face, Zaya punches Ash by elegance right in the face and knocks her out with the bejeweled knuckles, and then tosses it on her knocked out prone body. And everyone is shocked and appalled, and Zaya walks off triumphantly, even though she lost almost clean. So that was the thing. Like, at first, when I glanced away and missed the foot grab, to me it just looked like Ash just won straight up, because I missed the foot grab. It was that quick. And then I went back and looked, like, did he even do anything? He should have done something right there to get some heat. And then he sure did. So in that case, since the Concierge has been out here getting the whole heat, right? He came out, he tried to be a ref, he steals the introductions from the announcer, Mrs. Josh Alexander, Mrs. Walking Weapon. He steals her introductions. He tries to be a referee. He grabs the leg of the competitor to cheat and all this stuff. So Brandon, as a former performer yourself, who's the heat on in this match?
Heat's on the manager.
Oh, so who should Zaya punch with the knuckles?
The manager.
Case closed.
Like, it should have been a thing where, here's how they should have set it up. It should have been the manager holding Zaya. Ash puts the knuckles on. She swings, Zaya ducks, and she clocks her own manager.
That's another way to go. Point is, the manager's got to get knocked out here.
Yeah, you pay off that heat, and you still have the anticipation of Zaya getting her revenge on them.
Right. If you want to knock out Ash, then you have to have Ash be the one that cheats without the manager. Eye rake, whatever. Foreign object, other knuckles. a set of knuckles with different jewels on them. Like, whatever it is. Like, but obviously, if she's going to knock somebody out with knuckles, I'm not going to have her just turn around and get up and knock the person out again, right? So, and that's almost what we got here, because it's like, well, Ash did win with her finish. The finish is devastating enough to end a match, but Zaya Brookside's just right up like, well, this is the spot. I got to knock her out now. So that also plays into it. I mean, these are detailed things, but the details make all the difference, especially when we're talking about a smaller promotion. If you're ever going to get out of the perception of being a smaller promotion, you at least have to do some things that anybody can look at and say, well, I can't poke any holes in this. You have to start with those small things. There's it doesn't cost any money to have an idea, right? These aren't things that would cost any extra money for Impact. We don't even need to address the budget yet on stuff like this. First, we need to address what actually the order of events that take place. You know, you can cut out some of the budget for these people in their student films and their little PCO resurrections and, like, you know, hiring these extras or whatever to zap his nipples with a car battery. And we could cut all that out of the budget, save money, and we could just have better ideas in the matches you have.
Yeah, man, a lot of their problems could be solved just by sticking with basic psychology.
Yeah. And maybe a little money. I guess what I'm saying is, like,
money.
Yeah, even if they had extra money, they don't know how to spend it. I think that right there is clear. Just having the money isn't enough. How do you spend it, right? You know, like, that's just what I think.
Look at AEW.
Yeah. So there you go. And in fairness to AEW, they have the same bad ideas, but they're spending their money on talent. So now AEW has all the pieces in place. Now you just need to know what to do with them. The TNA sometimes doesn't even have pieces. They're trying to get over pieces that will just never get over. It will never get over. I know that's a slight variation on the quote, but it's fine. Well, speaking of this, so here, the next thing we have is a cinematic promo of Rosemary with music. We have music underneath this. And she's talking about a bunch of stuff. And it's just like, clearly somebody wanted to be a filmmaker, but the best they could do is TNA vignette. So that's what we get here with Rosemary. It's fine and all. It's fine. But it's less important than just getting some compelling booking going for the matches. Okay, you can make a cinematic vignette. Now what? Wrestling match where you don't, you know, the last time we saw Havoc, you know, we talked about that, how, like, Ash just fucking destroyed her, like, for no reason.
She fucking choked her out with a garlic cord.
Yeah. After she already beat her. And they had no, like, there was no history or no build to it. It was just a match they had. So yeah. I don't know.
I don't get
Did you
it,
like
bro.
the Rosemary vignette?
No, I like the vignette. It looks like she might be going singles as a heel, possibly. Who knows? It's just definitely the start of something.
Oh. Canada Spaceman has an important question. Why do wrestlers coming down the entrance ramp yell at us? We can't hear anything over their intro music. Did you do that in OVW? Well, for one, in the arena they can hear you. If you're talking about you as a television audience, then it's just so that they look like they're just not doing nothing as they come out. That's the real answer. They're just not doing the Dean Malenko entrance. But,
right. It's like coming out. Yeah. If you're doing your entrance and you're not doing anything, it's like the equivalent to dead air. You want to avoid that.
Yeah. And personally in OVW, I did not talk to the people. I just smugly and snidely stared off at them in a disapproving manner because they were very discourteous to me. So I just gave them one of these. All right.
And that's still something.
Still something. Well, we had a certain gimmick. It wasn't conducive to doing indie wrestling yell at the fans in the front row. It wasn't. I was supposed to be more stoic than that. Actually, you know, I remember the late Shad Gaspard telling me and my tag team partner, like, you guys are too charismatic to just be doing this gimmick you're doing. And I was like, well, thanks, Shad, but we kind of want to do the gimmick, so it is what it is. We'll get our charisma across in other ways. Kushida and Santino compare getting, their ink sickness, I guess. What they were both recently poisoned by Jonathan Gresham, who was he on this show? I missed it if he was.
He was not.
Oh,
he'll be on the punch up, but not this one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, Kushida says he felt sick, but he's better now. Santino agrees. But hey, guess what? It's time for Alan Angels, the front man. Yep, that's right. The very same. That's right, Edvard Munch's The Scream. Alan Angels. But he's taking on Leon Slater. Now, speaking of referees and speaking of Jonathan Gresham, this ref they had that looks like young Harland Williams, he was out there and he's like in the match. He starts coughing and he's just doing this overly theatrical. Elaborate. Is this puke like Julia Hart's Mist on B12? I guess we'll have to find out. It seems to have that lasting effect, like the Julia Hart Mist, because this referee is like selling it in the match, but in the fake way a wrestler sells. And then he like goes out of the ring and starts hacking up ink. And then every ref in the building comes out and they help him to the back. One of the referees takes his place. The other ones have the gloves on they have when anybody's got like a bloodborne disease emergency.
Yeah, Colin, he definitely needs to stay out of his wife's gym bag.
Side effects may include octopus ink. Maybe octopus ink is the new maybe that's the new planking and climate change and jump rope and so but whatever about that. That's just the angle to get this over, even though Jonathan Gresham's not going to be here.
Man, dude, now I'm sorry. I'm just now thinking about this promo that Scott Steiner cut on Rob Terry in like 2011, where he said like something about the fact of you're one chemical away. Where Scott Steiner said this to Rob Terry, you're one chemical away from becoming a Chernobyl disaster.
Very good. Right. He was English, but I mean, it would have been cooler if he was like, Russian or something. But hey, same kind of almost same landmass, at least.
Well, it's still technically the same continent, I think.
Yeah, we divided up for whatever reason, but it's in there. So Leon Slater hits the Swanton 450 to win, which is an impressive move. And it's something that he does, which he seems to be a somewhat impressive guy. He's 19, I believe they said, so that's impressive. And he can do this move, the Swanton 450, which if you haven't seen it, it's exactly what it sounds like, but it's probably hard to picture. So you might have to just go look up him doing it. But it's cool because it's his finisher, and he doesn't do anything that sort of like outshines it in the match. It's like, well, you hardly can. But for an example, like Kevin Owens has like 1,000 moves that he does to you, and they all look way, way, way more painful and devastating than a fucking stunner or a pop-up powerbomb. He does all kinds of weird shit. Package pile drivers, like top rope, step off, fisherman neck breakers, whatever. Like just everything except his finish looks like it'll kill you. And then he does a finish and you're like, that's it. So Leon Slater's got a spectacular finish and he saves it for the end. But there's something else about Leon Slater that we may notice after the match. So Khan's music plays for whatever reason. He comes out, he snaps Angel's neck. We know this has to do with Angels thinking they're friends or whatever, but anyways, he comes out, snaps his neck, And then he tries to go after Leon Slater, and then Slater fights him off, and it doesn't even look ridiculous because let me tell you something. Leon Slater is like at least almost as tall as Khan, and he's not like he's not like the size of a typical X Division guy. He's a big kid. And if he actually like put a little time into some, maybe I want to say 1,000 push-ups a week and a little toning up on the diet, and he'll have a very more than passable physique right now. But he looks like he's in good shape anyway. Just a little plain, but like he checks a lot of boxes. He's English. He's non-white. He's not a bald white guy with a beard. He could do a cool finisher. He's tall. He's in shape. This is a guy that Impact is lucky to have at the age of 19. And he's as big as Khan, who's supposed to be the monster. So
with all the damage they've done to Khan, why not feed Khan to him and get him over, help get him over?
Yeah. Well, he fucking clotheslines him over the top rope. Leon Slater clotheslines the monster over the top rope, and it doesn't even look ridiculous. So, so Khan like has to settle for grabbing a security guard and snapping his neck instead. I guess it's a small consolation, but I mean, what'd you think of this match, and more importantly, Leon Slater in the future?
I think they did a pretty decent job for helping kind of start building a foundation for Leon Slater. But man, like the whole thing with Khan snapping people's necks, like everybody's seen that happen in a movie. What happens to that person when it happens in a movie? They're dead.
Usually dead.
So how can we believe that as a finish when it's something we've seen kill people? That's what kind of like, to me, that's what kills the whole thing. It's like, this is not believable. These people, like, it's established that doing that to somebody, it kills them. They're dead.
That's right. You guys have seen No Holds Barred. Like, Zeus was killing people with that move.
And plus, if you did that to somebody in real life, it very likely would kill them.
Yeah. Well, it's going to give him a hard time anyway. But yeah. Yep, that's true. But hey, well, I mean, maybe that security guard died. I didn't see him again.
There was nobody.
I saw nobody. Maybe he's out of the Las Vegas desert. All right, guess who's back?
Back again.
No, it's Gabby. Remember Gabby Spishak or whatever, like whatever her name was. She welcomes Jake Something to the stage.
I'll say this was way better than the last segment she was involved in.
Well, let's go through this real quick and see if you see how you feel about that. So basically she asks about why he's called Something, so he has to re-explain the gimmick. And then out comes Cousin Cody. That's right. He's Cody. He's Cody Deaner, and is really Jake Deaner, right? He's cousin Jake. So anyway, they hash out that past and remind everybody of that. And he's very motivational towards Jake Something and very positive, and cuts a nice promo here and uplifting Jake Something. And then he gets clotheslined, of course, because of course he does. Because of course the people somewhat respond to Jake Something, so let's turn him heel. And through this whole thing, Gabby just standing there quietly, so she's not really living up to her nickname. She just sits here and takes it all in awkwardly. And then as like Something is standing over Cody's dead body, maybe his neck snapped on that clothesline, I don't know, but as he's just standing there and people are booing him, she's just sitting there like just smiling, like I'm okay with this. Not like aghast at the
not like putting the mic in Jake's face and going like, Jake, what was that all about?
No, don't do that. Don't ask the hard questions. Your part is done. Your talking part is done. You just stand there and smile. Smile politely. So, yeah, I don't know if she got an earful after that or what happened, but you got to at least have some like level. I'm not saying she's got to do like an oversell of like putting her hands on the top of her head like the Undertaker just streak just got broken.
Right.
But like
she
at least have a somewhat of a look of mild concern. Like
she definitely could have added to this but she failed to do so.
Yeah. Now, luckily, most people on the planet weren't watching this program, but also most people that did watch the program probably weren't looking at her anyway. Focus really wasn't on her, but I just had to look because I was amused and she was just smiling politely as a human being was hurt in front of her after being clotheslined by his own cousin.
Right. And again, like, you think back to if this were real and she was actually there, she'd be kind of like, Jake, why did you do that?
Mm-hmm. Or she could also be like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, dude, anything, just any kind of like organic, natural reaction to what just happened rather than just oh, well, that happened.
Smile. All right. 7-ball with Gia, no music underneath, make mountain references, and they shake hands on their match next week, and everybody bows, including Gia.
Country roads take me home.
I'll take you to Kaz versus Burt. I'll take you there. Kaz starts with demanding that Jade proclaim him the king of TNA, as she always must do. It automatically puts Burt in the face position in case anybody was confused. And then, did you have anything to add to that?
No, with the way this whole match was set up, structured, and the finish, I really believe that I think they're going to be turning Macklin face coming out of this. Dude, to kind of get into what we'll see later, like if they do kind of a thing where they have Macklin sit down with Tom Hannafan and shoot with him and tell his real story, I think that could get him over as a face. Again, it really depends on the production and presentation, but we'll see if and when it happens. If it happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Personally, I think he's too far gone, and I would never even try it. It's like climbing. It's like climbing up a hill that it's almost entirely vertical, and you're just using your hands.
Dude, here's an easy way to get him over as a face of the TNA audience. Do the thing, talk about his history with as part of the Forgotten Sons and how, because he was part of the group with Jackson Riker and how he caught his heat and how he wanted nothing to do with it and how he felt like he was kind of screwed over even though he didn't feel the same way he did. And that hurt his career. And he kind of, distanced himself from that. That might help him a bit with their audience. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't help him spitball. If it was up to me, I would just shoot down the idea and just save everybody a lot of time before the next thing you know, in like 3 weeks, he's going to come out waving an American flag like fucking Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
That's how they would do it. Yeah.
That's how they would do it. Anyway, the guys have a match, and then the Rascals come out, and then they sort of they run their interference in order for Zachary to paint Burt in the face, and then Frankie's able to hit the fade to black off of that. So there you go. We're keeping this story going. The former soldiers have gone rogue.
Yeah, the only thing I was watching this match. My main takeaway was, okay, I think they're I think they're gonna be turning Macklin babyface out of this.
Yeah. I'll still boo him. I'll boo him in my heart. Gail and Giselle are at the retreat. This has music underneath it. Giselle's gonna take Gail's guiding hand, and they're gonna take this drone out in the woods to get a nice shot as we leave the compound.
Dude, this is 100% my opinion and my belief. This whole Giselle Shaw Gail Kim storyline is proof they're watching this show. How long have I been calling for that?
Let's see. How long has Giselle Shaw been gone from the Chantarage?
Yeah, and how long have I been saying there should be a storyline between the two of them?
That amount of time? Yeah, it was like at least that long where she initially got removed from her group. So however long ago that was, I don't have my calendar here. Wait, yes I do. Hold on. Calendar. Let's see. April, March. Was it on first day of Women's History Month? No. Could have been. Was it on tax day? I don't know. It was a while ago. You've been calling for it for a while. But they can't just do what you say right away, Brandon, because they have to make it look like it was their idea. Right? So.
No, I will say the time off actually worked for Giselle. I'll say that.
Well,
it was kind of like one of those things like, oh, yeah.
Rebranded version.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, is this person again? Where have they been? Oh, they're out in the woods meditating, and Gail Kim found them. They're picking up where they left off. Okay, this makes sense.
This makes sense. Part 2 of Santana's emotional interview, although in my opinion, the music underneath definitely undercuts and undermines the story of his daughter asking what was the, like, I guess a reference to him being sort of like alcohol and drug abuse.
Basically, his daughter wrote a letter to Santa, and what she wanted for Christmas was her dad being sober. And he saw that letter, and that changed, and that basically like, okay, I got to fix this shit.
There you go. You think she
was and they actually showed like the actual letter she wrote.
Yeah. That was a good story, and I like that Santana's got his life on track and all this other stuff, and it was good. The music makes it sound JoJo, because you can't just listen to this guy tell a story for like 2 minutes without trying to heighten it with dramatic bullshit music and stings and stuff like that. But besides all that, I just have to think, like, was your daughter trying to write a letter to Santana? And you thought it was a letter to Santana? Like she was actually directly writing a letter to you? I just want to. It was right there. I had to take it. But yeah. So like otherwise good, but we could see how even TNA can take something that's genuine and TNA it up. Like this could have been with post-production and editing, this could have come off completely differently. So I don't know. We got what we got. I guess it's good enough. I guess. I'm just thinking about it right now. Like it's getting me mad. Like I'm just thinking about him crying, like he's crying, telling the story, and they're playing fucking generic, royalty-free sad piano under it. God.
Yeah, there are definitely some things that are like, no, let it go, leave it alone. This is one of those things. You don't need to add anything. It's perfect as it is.
Yep. Can't have that. Well, looks like there's been enough talk and crying and letters to Santa or Santana. It's time for the main event. And we're going to get first class up in the VIP section again. That's right. We outside. They're here to scout championships. Because guess what? Every champion's going to be out there. It's the Champions Challenge match. Which makes it sound like the champions are challenging somebody. But that's fine. You know, people start coming out, and I just wrote down actually wrote down on my notes, was like, some of these entries are going to be in the break.
And for Canada Spaceman's comment, you'd have to ask Sean Hernandez and Nick Aldis about that one.
Joe Hendry does his usual promo.
And full disclaimer, that's completely a joke. I don't know if anything happened, but the rumors are there about how Dixie felt about those two. Well, and Sean Hernandez actually told the story of how he went to Dixie's house and did a photo shoot thinking it was going to be for promotional photos, and those photos never saw the light of day.
Well, plans change. So, we planned to promote you. Plans change. Where are we at? Okay, Hendry promo. The system has matching basketball jerseys. And then everybody gets in the ring and they're like, "Huh, you want to go? You want to go?" It's like 16 people. Like, "You want to go?" And it's like there's like one referee in between them. You know, like, "Hey guys, don't go. I know you're all out here to go, but don't go." And they're like, "You want to go?" And they all just yell at, yeah. I don't see anything stopping us except this one ref.
Air and opportunity.
Yep. So they go to break because they don't know how to get out of that, like, really in a realistic fashion. So they go to break, and it's classic. Yeah, and then a long match happens. This represents about 45 minutes of the broadcast altogether.
Decent chunk, yeah.
And that was and I watched the version with commercials cut out. Like, it was 40, so I assume it was like the entire second hour or something.
Yeah, it was at least 2/3 of the second hour.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody does stuff. Moose is out there, so that's the important thing. You just watch him do stuff. He didn't do much because there was like 15 other people, but he got in and kicked some people and stuff. And then at some point, Ali just walks out. He's like, why am I even here? This match doesn't mean anything. And he leaves, which they all should have done, really. But yeah, they do that. They do the spot where everyone dives. Like we all take. I haven't seen that in a while. The old, because AEW doesn't have dark and dark elevation anymore. So I haven't seen the spot in a long time where people take turns climbing up to the top, knocking the entire pile down. So that was nostalgic. And then did I get lost again? Was I lost?
You were not really lost, kind of like not perfect, but not gone.
Okay, you heard what I was saying? Okay.
Yes.
All right, everyone dives. Standing O from Hendry to Myers. And then we go lights out, lightning, PCO gets revived, brings his bag. He's got a bag now. He digs through it, gets a bunch of junk out, and then finds a black rose and gives it to Steph DeLander. And that's how we go off the air with her not being happy about him proposing something to her with a black rose. That's our show. So I'll let you give your thoughts on that, and then I will let you punch that up. I think I've said enough.
I mean, it was what it was. At least they kind of gave the individual stories that were involved in the match some kind of time to, do their thing. But beyond that, this just really felt like I think the idea was, all right, let's create a spectacle, but it felt more like a time filler.
Why not both?
Right, a spectacle that fills time.
Long spectacle. Spectacle with an intermission. It'd be like back in the day when you used to go to the movies and the movie would be so long. Like Ben-Hur. Like
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves some snacks.
Get ourselves some merch. All right. So there you go. So I think we underlined a couple of key ways in which TNA sucks. And the only other thing that we can underline is Moose. But
more Moose. Get me Moose.
Yeah. Well, we got like an hour of Moose. But so I guess I should be happy with that. I'll be happy. I'm more excited about looking at the back of Moose's jersey than I am most of the things that happened on this show where they were really, really trying. So whether that's an indictment of the program or a praise of Moose, you can decide. But that's just how I see it. But how did you see it, Brandon? How did you see this in your mind when you re-envisioned the booking for this episode?
Well, let's go ahead and pull it up and take a looky poo.
Howdy ho.
Howdy ho. This show sure smells an awful lot like flowers. All right, so we open up with the recap and catch up packet.
That's right. Keep that off the sliders.
And then we go to the announce table. They run down the card for tonight, talk about recent events, and give their thoughts. And then we have an in-ring of everybody that's involved in the Champions Challenge match. Everybody's already in the ring except for the System. We have the System music and entrance. Santino music and entrance. Santino says he called everyone there because he wants to add a stipulation to the match. If champions lose, then the other team will get title shots. Who challenges for which title will be randomly chosen. Each team will be sequestered in separate locker rooms until it's time for the main event.
Oh, so like a feast or feast situation?
Kind of.
Okay.
And then Santino says that anyone who starts a fight before the match is removed from the match. Moose and the System try to stir the pot with the other team. Moose and the System's words begin to take effect before Santino cuts it off and orders everyone to their locker rooms. And then we go to the Rosemary vignette that we got on the show. Cut backstage to the locker rooms. The teams enter their locker rooms and Santino locks the doors. And then we go to our first commercial break. Come back with Santino and Kushida. Same exchange we saw on the show. And then match number 1, Ash by Elegance versus Zaya Brookside for the Jeweled Knuckles. Ash by Elegance music and entrance with Concierge. Zaya Brookside music and entrance. However, we kind of, we do the post-match, but we change it up how we talked about it on the show. Like we edit it to where it's ice or it's the Concierge taking it to the face.
Mm-hmm. Take it. Take it.
And then we cut to a stage interview with Gabby AF, Something, and Diener. Same one as we got on the show with Diener out and Jake turning heel. And we go to our second commercial break.
And Gabby reacting appropriately?
Yes. Yeah, we'll definitely fix that.
We wouldn't think we'd have to write that in, but we do.
And we go to our second commercial break. We come back, go backstage to the Champions locker room. Tension between the System, and more specifically, Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich with Jordan Grace. They have a little bit of, there's some tension there. Just a little bit. Nothing boiling over, but there's something there to play out later. Then we go to the sit-down interview with Santana and Hannafan. Same one we got on the show. Match number 2 versus Leon Slater. Alan Angel's music and entrance. Leon Slater music and entrance. Same match we got on the show. Same post-match events. And then we go to the Giselle Shaw, Gail Kim vignette. Same one we saw on the show. Before we go to our third commercial break. Come back backstage, All-Star locker room. Sander is causing problems between herself and the members of Spitfire. Then we go to the interview with Gia and Speedball Mountain, same one we saw on the show. And then Frankie Kazarian versus Steve Macklin. Frankie Kazarian music and entrance, Steve Macklin music and entrance. Condensed version of the match we got on the show. Then we go to an added vignette of Jonathan Gresham, where he's saying he's going after Laredo Kid and he wants to take his mask and title. And then we go backstage, both teams' locker rooms, and the teams are headed to the ring for the main event. We go to our fourth commercial break. Come back with the First Class Balcony promo. Match number 4, Champions Challenge, All-Stars music and entrance. Champions music and entrance. Match goes to commercial. Commercial break number 5. We come back with a New Japan hype video. And then the match continues. We end it with Joe Hendry going over, same as before. And then we end the show with a brawl.
Okay. So we get pretty much. Yeah. So I guess with the new, like what we discussed and everything, and the new punch up, since you left most of the segment involving Khan the same, does that mean that now Alan Angels is dead? He's dead, and we don't have to watch him anymore, right?
Well, I mean, we're not gonna do the neck snap. I'm envisioning, okay, Khan does something else that lays him out.
Oh, all right. Because I like it. If that's what we're doing, I'll say that if Alan Angels dies, that's okay with me. It's all right. We can even if that's what it means, I'll even accept maybe like a funeral segment on the following episodes. Like I'll deal with it one more time if that means that's one more time.
To be fair to TNA, when they've done like funeral segment vignettes, they've knocked it out of the park every time. Team 3D, like Aces and Eights, right? Those were great. Those were great.
Yeah. No, I want a real one. Like we could even just show just pick like little clips from it, and Tom can voice it over with his solemn voice. Like last week we lost a part of the TNA family. He had a service over the weekend. Like that would be, I'll accept that. If we see even if it's open casket, I can still I'll accept it. I'll accept seeing him one more time if it means it's the last time. But this is a alternate universe, and Well, anyway,
dude, the best part of that Aces and Eights funeral is when Samoa Joe is like, "I'm gonna put the 6-pack of beer in this casket." Well, actually, the beer is still cold, so we should drink them. And then he's about to pass one to Kurt and go, "Actually, that's a bad idea now."
Well, I guess we didn't get anything like fully approaching that level of entertainment this week. But hey, there's always next week, even though they've already taped it. So we're stuck with it, whatever it is. They can't hear this and make changes.
You can for your next tapings because your next pay-per-view and tapings have not happened yet.
That's right. So, yeah, I guess that will just about do it. If there's anything else, anybody want to debate brands or foods before we go? But other than that, I think that we should tell the people.
When Rowley's fries are fresh, nobody stops. Nobody's better than them.
Oh, Rowley fries, eh? Well, you can't get fresh ones at the grocery store, but I do see Rowley's fries being sold in the frozen supermarket aisle, so you might have to settle for next best thing.
Dude, the best time to get Rowley's fries, you show up in the middle of the lunch rush because you know they're constantly cooking them, so you're getting the fresh ones, bro.
We don't have Rowley's out here.
Do you have Checkers?
No.
Damn, I'm
it's
sorry.
The same deal. It's the
I'm
same
sorry.
Deal.
I'm sorry, man. I'm really
I've
sorry.
Had it. No, I've had it. It's I don't remember how fresh my fries were, but what I remember was that all their food is extremely salty. Like I think my blood pressure went up after one meal. Uh, so
Liz, man, in my area, McDonald's does not sell curly fries. Jack in the Box does. Theirs are the best, and Arby's are really close.
I think she's saying McDonald's regular fries and Jack in the Box curly fries because Jack in the Box also has
Gotcha.
regular fries, right?
Gotcha.
You
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
yeah,
McDonald's original fries are absolutely fantastic, but again, you got to catch them fresh. Like if you come in the like late afternoon when they've been sitting there and they're soggy, no, you're not gonna have a good time.
yep. That's another McDonald's. That's another brand. The King, the undisputed King. No one will ever replace them. You know, it's like McDonald's. WWE is the McDonald's basically. Because
Mc,
there's all these other things that are very similar to what the WWE does, or they try to do what they do, but they cannot be replaced.
McDonald's has to completely fuck everything up themselves for them to fall from where they are.
Yep. Oh, and they tried. They can't. They can't do it. It's too entrenched. So
I miss their chicken wings. I thought those were good.
hmm.
However, I could see how, a product that takes about at least 10 minutes to cook could be a problem for a fast food.
That's right. And go get a Grandma McFlurry, Liz says. All right.
Man, I remember when a Five Guys double burger was $6.
What is
What
it
the
now?
fuck happened? What the fuck?
Um, gamble with the ice creams. Yeah, everything.
Ice
Well,
cream machines broken. Moose out front should have told you.
if you live long enough, everything sucks. I think that's the main thing. Well, we're about to hit you with a flurry of social media. So, Brandon, tell the people where they can find you.
Oh, you can catch me on Twitter, or as the kids call it these days, the X, on Transarchus Tia. I'm still working on the rebrand for for my Twitch channel. Not really sure what I want to do with it yet, but what it's at currently as twitch.tv/Miss Tia the Transarchist. Even though I haven't decided what I want to do with it yet, I'm hoping to kind of get streams going at some point, even if I rebrand later. Whatever. Let's get this shit going. I got to figure something out. And then you can always catch me on Substack at HMG Brandon.
All right. And don't forget HMG constantly watching along.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the schedule for this week, I will be doing, actually, I got a pretty busy schedule this week. I'm going to be working tomorrow night, so I won't be able to do the NXT watch along, but I will do the A show on Wednesday with, because Big Ray can't make it. It's going to be me and John Enright with April Hunter. And then after that, going right into the AEW watch along. Thursday, we're doing TNA. Friday, we're doing SmackDown, unless Ben happens to be able to log in and get it going. Then we're going to switch over to there, which he's been able to do for the last few weeks. So, again, that's up in the air. Who knows how that goes with, Cannabis Briz. And then Saturday will be a late start for the Collision Rampage block if they're doing one. I have to check in on that.
Okay. Yeah. You always got to check. You never know.
Right. Because the only reason they're doing this is because of the NBA playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Which last almost as long as the NBA season. So that's, but yeah. All right. Well, you can find me at all your favorite social media spots at Opinion Haver, including twitch.tv/Opinion Haver, where I don't need to rebrand because I've already branded. And fun fact, Brandon, I did, in fact, this morning end up defeating the evil old man in the wheelchair. So,
David Lopan?
yes, the very same. Well, he looked like a white guy, but other than that, pretty much identical. I got the job done. The internet didn't crash. Obviously, I have a problem in the evenings. So, so apologies for that. But if you wanted to see me do it, it's for 30 minutes of the archive. So you could see that some people were there. Liz was there. Gan Wolfers was there. I don't know who else was there. Pat Patterson was there. I don't know who else was there. But we've also let's see, what else do we got? We've got the Next Level Wrestling Review. Big Ray Hernandez every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. We've got the Wreckage, where Jimmy T and I cover that block that we were talking about that may or may not be preempted by basketball. And if it's not, then we talk about it. And that's at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, Sunday. So those are where you can find me to talk about more wrestling promotions than even I care to. But you could also check out, if you're tired of me, you could give Rip Rogers a try. Well, he's every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, Concrete, and you can interact with him, ask questions, learn about old stuff. He's still putting out videos on his territory days, a two-parter on Puerto Rico. He was a performer, booker, lots of stories, lots of impressions of talent, and some other extracurricular activities and shenanigans there. So if you like to check those out, they're available now, and more are coming up. Stevie Richards, also very busy. Not only is he busy with his own Patreon channel and his podcast, his weekly podcast, and his fitness reviews and everything else, but I believe his lovely wife put up a new video where they're like walking around some Disney related something or other something. Let me see if I can see what that is real quick, just to let you guys know. You definitely want to give her a shot. She's trying to grow her channel and she could use some help. What is it? Searching for theme park props at Lakeland Antique Mall. So she's little couple shopping trip on YouTube if you want to give it a look. And that is at Christie's Florida Adventures. So, so much stuff going on, a variety of things, just almost too much for one person to handle. So we will go and we will let you go and we will let you handle it. So for Brandon, I'm the vet and I don't have a sign-off line.